The seating chart lay across my sister Victoria's dining room table like evidence of my inadequacy. She tapped her manicured nail on a circle marked Table 18, Overflow. Sophia goes here, Victoria announced to her wedding planner. Near the kitchen service entrance. We can't have singles at the main tables. It disrupts the aesthetic. I stood in the doorway, still in my work clothes, having come directly from the office. At 34, I'd grown accustomed to my family's dismissal, but being classified as overflow stung differently. Table 18 is behind a column, the planner said carefully. Guests won't be able to see the ceremony or speeches. Perfect, Victoria said without looking up. Sophia won't mind. She's used to being in the background. No career to speak of, no relationship, just that government job nobody understands. My mother Patricia swept in carrying fabric swatches. Victoria's right, dear. The Hardington family is very prominent. Michael's father is a federal judge. We need to put our best foot forward. Singles send the wrong message. That government job nobody understands was my position as Deputy Director of International Protocol at the State Department. For 8 years I'd been coordinating diplomatic relations, managing state visits, and serving as primary liaison between the U.S. government and foreign dignitaries. Last month I'd been promoted to Special Advisor to the Secretary of State. The promotion came with increased responsibilities and something my family didn't know about. A relationship with someone who required Secret Service protection. I understand, I said quietly. Table 18 is fine. Victoria finally looked at me, her expression mixing pity and irritation. Don't take it personally. This wedding is important. Michael's family is flying in 3 ambassadors, 2 senators, and a Fortune 500 CEO. Everything has to be perfect. What Victoria didn't know was that those ambassadors were colleagues I'd worked with for years. The senators had attended functions I'd coordinated. And I'd been dating the Fortune 500 CEO's daughter for 4 months. Actually, not the CEO's daughter. The president's daughter. Riley Hartfield and I had met during a 6-month diplomatic assignment. We'd kept our relationship intensely private. Dating the president's daughter came with scrutiny I'd wanted to avoid while building something real. Riley had been increasingly frustrated with secrecy. I'm 32 years old, she'd said last week. I shouldn't have to hide who I love. The president had agreed. Riley's right. Time to go public. He'd scheduled our first official appearance together. Tomorrow's state dinner at the White House. But I'd asked for 1 more week. One last family event before everything changed. What about the photographer? My mother asked. Should we include Sophia in family formals? Victoria considered this. Maybe just immediate family shots. Not the extended ones. The Hardingtons are flying in their own photographer from New York. I don't want any unflattering elements. Unflattering elements. That's what I'd become. I have a work commitment tomorrow anyway, I said. I'll need to leave by 8. A work commitment on a Saturday? My father Richard shook his head. Surely the government can survive without you. It's a State Department function. Required attendance. What I didn't mention was that the function was a state dinner where I'd be seated at the head table next to Riley, whose presence would be announced publicly as my partner for the first time. The wedding day arrived with unseasonably warm weather. The ceremony at Oakmont Estate began at 4 o'clock. I performed my bridesmaid duties quietly, holding Victoria's train, managing her veil, staying out of photographer frame as requested. During family formals, the photographer positioned me at the far edge, easily croppable. Victoria's friends whispered about seating arrangements, pointedly not asking if I'd bring a date. It must be hard, Victoria's college roommate said with false sympathy. Watching your younger sister get married while you're still alone. Focused on work. The ceremony was beautiful. Victoria looked radiant. Michael seemed kind, if oblivious to his family's condescension. The Hardington side radiated old money while our side radiated middle-class striving. The reception began at 5:30. I found table 18, tucked behind a marble column near the kitchen entrance. My tablemates were Michael's distant cousins and a couple discussing their timeshare in Boca. I checked my phone discreetly. A text from Riley. Security advance team is in place. Hey, 6:45 p.m. Dad approved the detail. This is really happening. You ready? My heart raced. Was I ready for my family to discover their single sister at table 18 was dating the president's daughter? I typed back, as ready as I'll ever be. My family thinks I'm a failure. Her response. Then they're about to be very surprised. I love you. See you soon. At the head table, Victoria and Michael received toasts. My father spoke about Victoria's ambition and success. Michael's father praised her for understanding what truly mattered: family and partnership over career obsession. The implication was clear. Victoria had her priorities straight. I did not. At 6:30, I noticed the shift in security presence. Men and women in dark suits taking positions around the perimeter. The venue coordinator looking confused and panicked. Michael's father leaning toward someone on his phone, his expression changing. At 6:40, the Secret Service detail became obvious. The reception noise dimmed as guests noticed the security personnel. Michael's father stood up, speaking urgently to Michael. Victoria looked around in confusion, her perfect timeline disrupted. At 6:45, Riley Hartfield walked into the reception. She entered flanked by her Secret Service detail, and the ballroom fell into shocked silence. Riley was immediately recognizable. The president's daughter had been on magazine covers and news programs constantly. But she wasn't here for a political event. She was here for me. Riley scanned the room, found me tucked behind the column at table 18 and smiled. Then she walked directly through the stunned crowd toward the overflow table near the kitchen. Hi, she said, leaning down to kiss me in front of 300 witnesses. Sorry I'm late. Cabinet meeting ran long. The ballroom erupted in whispers. My mother's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering. Victoria stood frozen at the head table, mouth open. Michael's father looked like he'd been struck by lightning. Riley pulled out the empty chair beside me and sat down at table 18. I've heard so much about your family. I'm Riley, Sophia's girlfriend. The timeshare couple stared at us. Michael's distant cousins looked at their phones, frantically confirming what they were seeing. Victoria found her voice first, high and strained. Sophia? What is happening? I stood up, taking Riley's hand. Victoria, everyone, I'd like you to meet Riley Hartfield. My girlfriend of 4 months. Riley Hartfield, my father repeated slowly. As in President Hartfield's daughter? That's right, sir, Riley said with practiced diplomatic grace. It's wonderful to finally meet Sophia's family. Michael's father approached, his earlier condescension replaced by political calculation. Miss Hartfield, this is an unexpected honor. Had we known you'd be attending, you would have what? Riley interrupted gently. Seated Sophia somewhere besides the overflow table near the kitchen? The comment landed like a bomb. Guests who'd been whispering fell silent. Victoria's face flushed red. We didn't know she was bringing someone, Victoria managed weakly. She didn't bring me, Riley corrected. I came to support my girlfriend at her sister's wedding. I'm sorry for the disruption, but Sophia matters to me. One of the ambassadors Michael's father had mentioned, Ambassador Chin, whom I'd worked with extensively, stood up from his table. Sophia, I didn't realize you were family of the bride. Miss Hartfield, good to see you again. Riley smiled. Ambassador Chin. Always a pleasure. Sophia, you didn't mention your sister was getting married when we discussed the upcoming state dinner. My mother gripped the back of her chair. State dinner. Yes, Ambassador Chin continued. Sophia's been instrumental in planning tomorrow's state dinner at the White House. The president specifically requested her on the planning committee. Senator Morrison, another of Michael's important guests, joined us. Sophia Morrison? From State Department Protocol? Outstanding work on the G7 summit last month. The French delegation specifically praised your coordination. Riley squeezed my hand. Sophia's remarkable at her job. She's being considered for Assistant Secretary of State for International Affairs. The youngest person ever nominated for the position. Victoria sat down heavily. Michael looked between his bride and me with visible confusion. Other guests had formed a loose circle around table 18, phones out, clearly recording. My mother pushed through the crowd. Sophia, you're dating the president's daughter and you didn't tell us? I tried to tell you I was seeing someone, I said quietly. At Thanksgiving I mentioned I'd met someone through work. Dad changed the subject to Victoria's wedding planning. At Christmas I started to explain my relationship was getting serious. You interrupted to discuss bridesmaid dresses. But the president's daughter, my father sputtered. That's not just someone. Actually, that's exactly what she is, I said. Someone I care about. Someone who cares about me. The fact that her father is president is secondary to the fact that she's kind, intelligent, and makes me happy. Riley addressed the room, her voice carrying confidence. I apologize for crashing this beautiful wedding. Victoria, Michael, congratulations. But I need to say something. She looked at table 18's position behind the column. Sophia has spent months telling me how excited she was for this wedding. How proud she was of her sister. How much she wanted to support Victoria's big day. She paused. Yet you seated her at the overflow table. Hid her from the photographer. Treated her like an embarrassment because she was single. Except she wasn't single. She just valued her privacy. We didn't know, Victoria protested weakly. You didn't ask, I said simply. For months you never asked about my life. About my work. About whether I was happy. You assumed I was alone because I was failing, when actually I was building something real with someone I love. Michael's father cleared his throat. Ms. Morrison, Sophia, I apologize. Had we known about your position at the State Department, about your relationship? Would have what? Riley interrupted again. Treated her with respect? Given her a proper seat? Those things should have happened regardless of who she's dating or what her job title is. She's the bride's sister. That should have been enough. The reception had completely derailed. Victoria's perfect timeline, her carefully curated guest list, her strategic seating, all of it collapsed. The wedding coordinator approached nervously. Ms. Hartfield, should I arrange additional security? Perhaps relocate you to a more appropriate table. Table 18 is fine, Riley said firmly. I'll sit wherever Sophia sits. Actually, Victoria said, standing up, her voice shaky, we need to fix this. Sophia, Riley, please. Come sit at the head table. It's fine, Victoria, I said. The damage is done. Not from Riley coming, but from where you put me in the first place. My mother was crying now, her makeup running. Sophia, sweetheart, we're so proud of you. We had no idea about your promotion, about your relationship. Why didn't you tell us? I did tell you, I said. You just didn't listen. Senator Morrison spoke up. For what it's worth, your daughter's work at the State Department is extraordinary. She's facilitated critical diplomatic relationships and is universally respected in the Foreign Service community. Ambassador Chen nodded. Sophia is in the top tier. Her appointment to Assistant Secretary would be well deserved. Other guests frantically searched phones, pulling up articles about me, about Riley, about our relationship that political blogs had been speculating about for weeks. Michael approached cautiously. Sophia, I apologize. For my family's treatment, for the seating arrangement. You deserve better. Yes, I agreed simply. I do. Victoria joined him, her bridal glow dimmed. I've been awful to you. Not just today but for years. I was so focused on impressing Michael's family that I completely missed what was happening in yours. You didn't miss it, Victoria. You dismissed it. Riley stood up, diplomatic instincts taking over. I think we should let the reception continue. This is Victoria and Michael's day. Sophia and I will leave. No, Victoria interrupted. Please stay. Both of you. I ruined this myself. The least I can do is fix it publicly. She walked to the DJ booth and took the microphone. The room fell silent. I need to apologize to my sister, Victoria began, her voice amplified. Sophia has been nothing but supportive of this wedding. She helped me choose my dress, gave me advice, and never once complained when I talked endlessly about centerpieces. He paused, looking at me. In return, I seated her at the worst table in the venue. Behind a column. Near the kitchen. Because she was single, except she wasn't single. She just valued her privacy. Tears streamed down Victoria's face. My sister works at the State Department as Deputy Director of International Protocol and Special Advisor to the Secretary of State. She's being considered for Assistant Secretary. She's dating the President's daughter. And I had no idea because I never bothered to ask about her life. Victoria's voice broke. Sophia, I'm so sorry. You deserve better from me. From all of us. Please forgive me. The ballroom was silent. 300 guests watched and waited. I stood up, Riley beside me. I forgive you, Victoria. But things need to change. Real conversations about my life. Real interest. Not just when it's dramatic or impressive. Absolutely, Victoria said. And you're moving to the head table. Both of you. Right now. Riley and I relocated while staff scrambled to add chairs. The reception resumed, but everything had shifted. Guests who'd ignored me now wanted to network. Michael's family suddenly found me fascinating. My parents stumbled through questions they should have asked months ago. During cake cutting, my father made an impromptu speech. I want to apologize publicly to my daughter Sophia. We've failed to see her, to understand her achievements. We're working on doing better. The applause was genuine but awkward. Riley held my hand through it all. At 7:30, as we prepared to leave for the state dinner, Victoria hugged me tightly. Thank you for coming. Thank you for forgiving me. And thank you for being patient even though I didn't deserve it. You're still my sister, I said simply. That doesn't change. As Riley and I walked to the waiting car, Secret Service detail forming a protective perimeter, I looked back at Oakmont Estate. At the wedding where I'd been hidden behind a column, seated near the kitchen, treated as overflow. They'd classified me as a single embarrassment, someone to hide from photographers and important guests. They hadn't known about my diplomatic career, my upcoming promotion, my relationship with someone who required federal protection. They'd been wrong about everything. And now finally they knew it. The car pulled away toward Washington, toward the White House, toward the state dinner where I'd be announced publicly as Riley's partner for the first time. I'd been hidden at my sister's wedding. But I'd never actually been invisible. I'd just been waiting for the right moment to be seen.